Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're talking more about the new Star Wars movie Solo, a Star Wars story. Set to come out later this week, Solo has been anything but a smooth production and lead up to its release. Mired with problems behind the scenes, a lot of fans are worried about whether or not this movie is going to be worth seeing, and more importantly, worth supporting with our time and money. Some fans have gone so far as to announce that they're boycotting the movie altogether, and while I could see some of these reasons as making sense, in general, I do just think boycotts are pretty gay and pointless. Nothing really ever comes of them, but I do admire the effort and the dedication it takes. We're going to go over a couple of Star Wars boycott videos today, starting with one from Gabriel Chavaria called Why I'm Boycotting Solo, a Star Wars Story. Check this out.
But Star Wars is suffering from, politics and just aiming at kids.
When it comes to Solo, a Star Wars story, I kind of describe it as like my best friend got into a potentially fatal accident and might die.
Whoa, talk about melodramatic. This guy definitely falls into the category of one of those people who says Disney ruined my childhood, or something like that. It may be time to grow up though, tough guy. But really, I know this intro of his is joking. He's being over the top on purpose, probably to also goof on these other commentators who also take Star Wars way too seriously. That's the general vibe I get from these boycott videos. It's a lot of people who are probably too invested in Star Wars to begin with. And don't get me wrong either, I'm a big Star Wars fan too. Most of my friends would even call me a Star Wars nerd, but even I don't compare to these super fanboys you see online. I'm not wearing all the Star Wars gear or putting it all over my walls or anything. Not since high school. And I'm not sure if Gabriel, this video maker here, is one of those hardcore fans either, but I guess we'll see.
Disney continues to shove down their SJW feminazi agenda down our retinas and dilute and democratization of the Force, cheapening its exclusive mythical connotation by creating a Mary Sue character like Rey and claiming that the Force is female and basically making...
Okay, slow down there, buddy. You had me at SJWs. I agree. I think progressive leftist politics are invading Star Wars, and it's getting worse and worse each year. I already went over all the SJW moments from The Last Jedi in a separate video, but to put it briefly, The Last Jedi was a fucking mess. I had a review about it as well that had me rated as mixed to positive, but over time, The Last Jedi has not aged well at all. The more and more I look back on it, the more I hate it, and that's not me changing my mind or caving into fans or anything. That's just me evolving my opinion on a movie, which I've still only seen once, and I don't even know if I want to rewatch that crap, not anytime soon. And I'm not alone here. A lot of people have been upset with Star Wars since The Last Jedi came out, which is why I could see a lot of people being apprehensive about this next Star Wars movie, Solo, coming out this week. And apparently, things have gotten so bad, some of these boycotts have popped up too. Let's continue with the video.
All because Kathleen Kennedy, the president of Lucasfilm, has an agenda to promote real-world politics, feminazism, as I like to call it, into fantasy space opera and essentially slaughtering any mysticism and wonder Star Wars had.
I also too think Kathleen Kennedy has a big role in the decline in Star Wars lately. Putting an SJW feminist in charge of the new Disney version of the franchise was a big mistake. And that's not to say politics don't work in Star Wars. They do, and they have many times before, in fact. George Lucas famously told the New York Times one time that George Bush is Darth Vader and Vice President Dick Cheney was the Emperor. So regardless of your thoughts on the prequels, politics can be done in these stories, but I think the problem with it now is they're overdoing it with the social justice warrior stuff that has totally changed the Star Wars landscape for the worse. First it was Rey being this Mary Sue character who can do no wrong and is great at everything because of all the feminism and girl power shit going on. And now, this week, the Star Wars people just announced Lando Calrissian is going to be pansexual in the new movie. That's right, a movie supposedly for kids has a pansexual Lando who sleeps with men, women, and robots or some shit. I don't know what they're going for here, but needless to say, people are a bit worried.
Take the movie Black Panther, for instance. The women were done right, perfectly balanced with feminine grace and mental and physical resolve, but without the condescension towards men that we saw in Star Wars. I actually love that movie.
Wow, I agree with this guy a lot more than I thought I would. I've always said, particularly with my SJW Moments videos, I've always said Marvel may sneak in some social justice moments and themes, but since they do it right and the movie is still good, I really don't mind. But with Star Wars, as Gabriel just said, it's so heavy-handed and weird, plus they seem to think they need to shit on men in order to prop up women. Well, it's really bad and ham-fisted way to do things, which I think is a big reason why people are turned off by Star Wars now, and I guess that's why some people are boycotting it now too.
Not to mention a plethora of tweets and rants, even by J.J. Abrams, declaring anyone who didn't like the movie to be racist and bigoted. Like, really? Clearly, your work left a lot to be desired. If we were wrong, If we were so wrong, why aren't Marvel movies getting this type of criticism? Oh, right. Because they were actually good movies.
Another good comparison, and a fair reason to be fed up with Disney, telling your fans they are not only wrong about their opinions, but calling them sexist because they didn't like a female character? That's just fucked up. I guess J.J. Abrams is a cuck apparently. Look, listen here, JJ, with your thick-rimmed glasses and flannel shirts. People didn't hate Rey because she was a girl. They hated her because she's a Mary Sue girl who happened to be good at everything for no reason. And in addition to that, Kathleen Kennedy is pushing her feminist girl power agenda here. And this is exactly the kind of defense SJWs and leftists always jump to. It's like when people criticized Barack Obama. They were instantly deemed as racist. But the reason people hated Obama wasn't because he was black, it was because he was a shitty president. And it's the same with Rey. They don't hate her because she's a girl, they hate her because she's a shitty character.
I don't dislike Rey because she's female. I dislike Rey as a character because she has poor character development. I mean, in the first 30 minutes of the first movie, she's already piloting the Millennium Falcon, later mind-tricking stormtroopers, learning how to use a lightsaber in 2 minutes, and defeating arguably the most powerful being in the galaxy.
Now, I didn't have as many complaints about The Force Awakens, but I can see this guy's points. Personally, I think Rey's faster progression works somewhat because these newer movies are faster paced. It makes for good and better action, especially with all the new technology and special effects available to the movie makers now. So, in my opinion, The Force Awakens was still pretty good, if not great. The plot was a little derivative, but still fun and exciting to watch. And Rogue One was okay too. I actually liked that one a lot more after I rewatched it recently. But The Last Jedi is definitely where things started to go downhill for Star Wars.
I'm boycotting Star Wars Han Solo because money is the only language Disney understands. I'm going to repeat that. Money is the only language Disney understands.
This is true, and I again commend your efforts, but unfortunately, one or two guys boycotting online obviously won't do much to Disney's bottom line. I prefer to go the route of watching the movie and then potentially mocking it publicly if it ends up being terrible. I hope it's not, I hope it's good, but I got a feeling we could be disappointed with Solo.
Why? Why did they pick this guy? Like, he looks nothing like Han Solo. Look, this is why young Han Solo doesn't work. We've already seen young Han Solo. We saw young Han Solo in episode 4.
Yeah, I didn't think that much about this yet, but young Han Solo was already in the first Star Wars movie, A New Hope. And now this new guy playing him looks like he's the same age Harrison Ford was at that time. That's kind of weird. I guess he's supposed to be a younger, early 20s version, but yeah, when you think about it, this is a bit odd.
So to me, it's kind of unfathomable why Disney, with their huge budget, how did they miss this opportunity? There's this other actor.
All right, all it needs is a push start. Just lose the brake, I'll give you a push. You pop your clutch and you'll take off.
Damn, that guy even sounds like Harrison Ford, the original Han Solo. This is crazy they didn't hire this guy to play in the new prequel, especially after all the drama about the guy they did cast, Alden Ehrenreich, about him not being able to act. This was definitely a missed opportunity, not hiring the guy who already looks like Han Solo.
Another reason why I'm boycotting this movie is because, look, we don't need a Han Solo movie. The whole thing about Han Solo, that one of the things that makes him cool is he has kind of like this mysterious past, right? He has that mysterious stranger vibe where...
Well, I agree with this guy again. I never would have asked for a Han Solo prequel movie. It just sounds like a terrible idea, like something a Disney think tank came up with to try and sell tickets and toys. Like they said, hey, everyone loves Han Solo, let's try and sell that, without thinking too much into how they would go about that movie. There's just certain characters and situations which make good for spin-off movies. And unfortunately, Han Solo doesn't sound like he's one of them. He already had enough great screen time in the original trilogy too, and in The Force Awakens. Why don't we just let the poor man die and go off into nothingness in peace? Next, let's take a quick look at one more Star Wars boycott video, this time from the channel John Talks Star Wars, who has an interesting explanation for why he's boycotting the Disney Star Wars universe altogether. First, he talks about the overabundance of politics forced into The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi managed to pack in animal cruelty, human slavery, a message why the top 1% are evil, rich people are bad, and war profiteering, on top of its underlying feminist agenda. That's a lot of political messages to pack into a movie, and you better believe it slows it down, it's distracting, it makes your movie preachy.
I again agree. The ham-fisted, overdone politics in The Last Jedi definitely turned people off to Star Wars in general. And I know we said this already, but I can't overemphasize how much the mixed reception of The Last Jedi has led people to give up on Star Wars. And more recently, it's really showing with the disinterest in Solo.
Disney disrespected the fans by basically disrespecting the old trilogy, by disrespecting the old characters. Pretty much every reason that I've listed up to this point is in some way, shape, or form disrespect towards the fans. It's just bad business. If you have a consumer base or a customer base, you cater to that base. You give that group of people what they want.
Wow, this point really strikes home to me as well. If you think about it, Disney really is disrespecting the fans. I think the other video from Gabriel mentioned this too. They're not giving us, the Star Wars fans, what we want at all. They're giving us SJW garbage. All the while, they're shitting on the characters that we do love, like Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. This is bad business and just plain wrong, but I guess that's what Disney's plan to do. And since their movies keep making money, no one's gonna be able to stop them. Next, John talks about how Star Wars is catering to women more now, as opposed to catering to its mostly male fan base. Another big mistake.
But instead of doing that, Disney was trying to reach a more female audience, different audience. Instead of catering to the true hardcore fans, they're probably going to see your movie, if it's good, 3, 4, 5 times. They went after a whole different demographic. They went after girls and women. Now, it is true, there's a lot of girls and women that do like Star Wars, and that's great, that's awesome. But let's be honest, for the most part, who loves Star Wars? It's boys and it's men. Star Wars is not a chick flick. It's just not.
In the end, Disney is really blowing it with Star Wars lately. They've been disrespecting the fans and have shown time and time again that they don't care what we want. Disney wants to force its diversity, its politics, and its feminism into everything at any cost. So it's no wonder why these boycotts are coming out now, as Solo is set to release in a few days. Things were okay in the Star Wars world after The Force Awakens and even Rogue One, but once The Last Jedi came out, that was the last straw for many of us. So between that and the overabundance of politics and disrespecting the fans, I could see why some people are upset, and I could see why they're even boycotting this. I know I'm still personally going to see the movie this week. I'm going to see Solo on Thursday, but I see everything, and I also completely understand why others want to skip this movie and even boycott it. I'm still not a big fan of boycotts myself, but these guys on the show today sure make some strong points that support their choices. What do you guys think? Is Solo going to be a good movie? Should people be boycotting it after The Last Jedi debacle? And what do you think about the pansexual Lando they announced for this new movie? May have to do a separate video about that whole story itself. Hit like and comment Pando Calrissian below if you want a video made about that soon. And thanks again for watching today's episode of No Bullshit. See y'all next time.